goals of post-independence educational policy in Uganda were to promote the distribution and equalization of educational opportunities and the expansion of the system at all levels, including the attainment of universal access to primary education. Whereas the government has made tremendous strides in improving accessibility of education to most Ugandans, challenges still abound.
How many sticks are we left with? 4. 4, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
For over 20 years, Build Africa, an international organization, has ensured vulnerable children in Africa get the right infrastructure, teaching, and family support so they can get the most from their time at school and go on to lead productive, healthy, and happy lives.
We believe in the power of education in helping address poverty. So we believe that when children go to school, stay in school and complete school with relevant skills, they are able to address inter- and intragenerational poverty. They'll be having relevant skills to take them through the next stages of life.
Social accountability is one of the approaches that have been championed to promote community-led solutions to transparency and accountability violations. This can be reached through ensuring that district level, sub-county level, and school level duty bearers and parents are responsive and accountable to improve the quality of primary education in their respective schools.
This model is a community-led action that tries to engage communities and citizens in the school communities where we work in order to participate actively in empowering them, give them local solutions to local school problems that they may face.
An experimental study in community monitoring and participation in Ugandan schools indicated that community approaches can be effective as they induce higher contributions.
I'm called Ochanda Tarasisio Praise, education monitoring volunteer working in this community of Nyantonzi and Budongo sub-county as a whole, monitoring 13 schools under this cluster of Chinyara. My roles are to monitor the learning processes in the classes, link the communities to the duty bearers, also educate and guide the communities to write petitions to the duty bearers to the services they need to be provided to their schools. Also guide the parents on their responsibilities in the learning of their children.
In improving education, you need everybody on board. Of course, we have the school community, we have the teacher, the teachers, we have the pupils themselves, but then the stakeholders elsewhere all need to be on board. But the most important thing is to ensure that you take them through their responsibilities so that each one knows what role to play, but driving towards the same goal.
We have classroom assessment tools. These are particularly used in classes. When we report to the schools, we interact with the head teachers, with whom we decide the classes to which we shall go and observe the learning process. the children attendance in the class, boys and girls differently, teacher-pupil relationship. We also observe the teacher-pupil ratio in the class to help us maybe make a petition with the community of other teachers to be enrolled in the school. Then also observe how the children are perceiving the learning process in the class. Then to some extent also we observe that how do these teachers help these children learn simply by providing them with learning aids, learning charts. Then also in the classes we believe that our teachers should have subject corners. So we try it also after monitoring the class. We also share some of the few observations with the class teacher, then also share with the head teacher to make better improvements in the class.
We parents, we are now very organized. We have these management committees or the executive committees. We all meeting several times so that we look for what should be done in our school to improve the standard of education in our school. Sub-village leaders, they came in and they joined and mobilize people from there, come and build arts for teachers.
The School Management Committee is a statutory body if we are talking about universal primary education or primary education for that matter. Because even in private schools, they are supposed to have school management committees. For secondary, then we talk of Board of Governors. They are statutory bodies. They have the same roles. They represent government in those institutions to ensure that things run according to the law. Yes, everybody there whoever is playing a role plays that role according to the law. So the School Management Committee in a school is the eye of government.
So we convene meetings at schools and invite the community members, the parents, to identify the key education issues in their schools themselves. Then after identifying these key issues, they prioritize some key issues that they look at being priorities for advocacy. Then I guide the communities to write petitions to services that are needed for the sub-county to provide or the district. Petitions are written, we guide the communities, and then the School Management Committee is tasked with the task of dropping these petitions to the duty bearers. Then for me, I remain behind to make a follow-up of where these letters have been taken for better implementations.
Through the stewardship of USAID GAP leadership at the region, we have continued to collaborate with the civil society organizations implementing education programs within the region with focus on advancing regional level advocacy as a collective voice.
Where is the Directorate of Education Standards? Where is the Inspectorate of Education? This is where our demand should be. We should be demanding that the inspectorate does inspect the delivery of education services by inspecting schools as much as possible and holding the managers of schools accountable. And in turn, the inspectorate is held accountable by the citizens.
I've emphatically talked about the issue of letting stakeholders know their roles. Civil society can play a very big role there. You know, there are certain publications which we cannot make. Civil society can do this. You know, we have civil society at national level, we have civil society at local level. There is a lot they can do. If you are at local level, study the area around you and see what is missing in this program of universal primary education. Come in, get in touch with the local government, get in touch with the Ministry of Education and see how you can pull together synergies so that we achieve the goal of educating our children.
From the Community Empowerment for Education Project CEEP, funded through the GAP program, Build Africa has demonstrated that organizing parents to hold duty bearers accountable yields fruit. Within 18 months, over 74 actions had been taken by the local governments, school management committees, and teachers to improve the quality of education in 30 targeted schools.
We have a tool that we administer called the scorecard. So this tool is derived from the national standards of education, from the Ministry of Education. We look at the structures and facilities, provision management in the schools. Do they have structures that are enough for the learning process? Do they have staff units for staff to reside at school? Then also we look at the health and sanitation. Does the school have adequate latrines for these children compared to the ratio of the pupils to the stanzas? You find maybe in a school where there have many children, 100 children to one stanza, delaying their learning processes. So we look at that to make the communities advocate for more latrine stanzas for these children. We also look at these latrines separated, labeled boys and girls separately to avoid interactions. We also advocate that the structures, latrine structures have washing facilities for these children. And also the general sanitation at school, the compound structure. How is that hygiene maintained? Do they clean the compounds?
The activities implemented by Build Africa included majorly supporting the educational monitoring volunteers to continue leading community advocacy initiatives, with focus on following up on the various individual school petitions that had been delivered to the various duty bearers' offices, conducting support monitoring visits to the supported schools, with focus on following up the school management progress in achieving the targets set at the onset of the project.
With the petition which we made to the district, they have repaired our borehole, so there is no problem of water. We have a borehole. This is a clean water. So we normally get water from the borehole and we wash our latrine and for drinking.
The community has really taken up this time to really take up their responsibilities in sending their children to school, buying the scholastic materials, and contributing also food items so that the children can have lunch at school.
If a school management committee is active and up to the task, they organize and the children can have something to eat. Where if they are to organize at school, but some other parents can pack for their children, well and good. The end point is let a child have something to eat. It's
so unfortunate that the many petitions were not answered all, as you may all know that some petitions were given to the local government, like a sub-county, where you find that a budget has been already read and fixed up for a particular activity. So these petitions come later that the sub-county has no provision for these petitions in their budget.
Schools like Kochamar, Goma Central, Laminato, Goro, and Kurum in Woye district already have constructions of their classroom block, latrines, wall fence, and borehole to boast of as a result of petitions they have submitted to their respective districts or sub-counties.
We think that this approach can be replicated elsewhere. As an organization, we would love to see government, other civil society agencies, and also local governments engage more in the education sector.
If reports come out and say our children are not learning enough, some reports even say our children are not learning, then we shouldn't be keeping quiet as citizens, be it in groups, be it as individuals. We should be questioning our leaders.
Good enough, we have got a whole UPE guidelines booklet which stipulates all the stakeholders' responsibilities, including the responsibilities of the press and their roles.
The key area of concern now for us is with a very nice program called Universal Primary Education, which gives an opportunity to even the poorest child somewhere in a rural area to access education? Are we trading off quality for numbers? Shouldn't we focus on quality at this stage? And this is where we believe that communities have a key role, because they are the owners of these children, they live with the children, they are the ones who, if they choose to send them to school, they do. And that's why we've tested this approach of social accountability, believing in the power that communities, the citizens have in creating a change in the service that is targeted at them, and in this case, education for their children.
The educational monitoring volunteers have continued to provide a linkage between the school communities and the sub-county authority by continuously engaging with the sub-county leadership on issues that have always been raised during the school dialogue meetings.